So on the way here today, I noticed that the Z was kind of like shaking, getting like a weird like shimmy in the rear. So I pulled in the driveway and jacked it up, and I noticed the tires are crazy corded. This one's got like a bubble. That was the other one. One of them's got like a bubble to it. It's really bad. Yeah. So I had to go and throw those infinity wheels I have on that I had for drifting on the back because they fit. Oh, it looks so bad. Those tires are way too small. That's so annoying. But luckily I have some snow tires that are like almost the same size as this that I was gonna put on them in the winter. I might just stick them on the rear for now. Maybe just keep the all seasons in the front because they have a ton of tread on them. But so annoying. I'm super stoked with how this came out yesterday. So what I really want to do is wire all these things to like a harness or a few harnesses in such a way that this can kind of be all nice and tidy, and then when you take off the fascia you can just like unclip a harness, and then all the relays will be mounted in the car. So I'm going to get back to finishing this up and making like a short sub harness and maybe doing some different like wire combinations so I have something I can like write down and reference later. And then I also have, where did I put it? I also have all these like harnesses with pins. So I'm gonna make little sub harnesses for certain things so it'll just be able to unplug, which is cool. I don't have any 18 gauge wire. I think that's 18. I'll have to double check, but I don't have any of the heavier gauge. There's like this one, which is the same as the windows. But I found a calculator online, and this gauge is actually a higher effective gauge than one of these. So I'm just going to double these up, and it'll make color combos that'll be easy to reference, which is good. So I have all the spade connectors and little loops done for the windows. I ran some new power and ground for the window, and I connected it up here to this connector. So these first three are going to be ignition, the last three are going to be ground, and that middle one is going to be an illumination. And then these two are going to be to the driver and passenger window signal in the driver door. I replaced red with blue here. The factory harness has green, black, red, and then green, white, red, white. I didn't have really a lot of red, so I figured I'd just use blue. So this is the passenger window harness here, and this is the driver. So you got 4 pins in each, and this one's got the full 7. So I'm gonna make obviously female plugs for these guys, but all I have left to do now is just do like an output harness, which is only 6 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll be another connector. Will just be the outputs from the switches, and then there'll be a spare pin I can use for this if I want to eventually. Sweet. I've never done anything like this before, and I'm really glad I'm taking the time to do it because it'll make working on this so much easier. And there we have it. So I have a different color for each of the outputs. So this harness here looks like a rainbow. That's the output harness. And then I have the kind of like power ground harness, the 2 windows. I kind of bunched them up together so that way when I pull off that whole fascia panel, there'll be this nice bundle of wires with a couple harnesses. So another quick thing I just did, I checked the temperature of the radiator with a thermocouple, and it was reading like high 180s. So I figured I'd go back and check this temp, and as you can see, it's a more realistic 195 now, because I went in to, where did I go? I went into this coolant temp sensor, and I inputted the resistance curve from a website I found online. And you can see this curve. It was set for voltage for some reason, so now this curve's in here. It's reading 195. So that, I mean, that's a really good operating temp. I'm happy with that. And that makes a lot more sense. Back to what I was doing before. Man, I'm just banging things out. So I just rigged this up directly to the door harness. And as you can see, window switches to work on the camera, but both these window switches work if you plug in the respective port to the respective thing in the harness. But I'm gonna call it a night, and the next time I'm here, I'm gonna hopefully wire this into the car. So while I was in the car starting to wire up the switch panel, I thought of trying to make a better shifter thing. So I just threw together this, like, I know it looks like garbage, but I hacked up this bit of metal here, and that shifter boot will fit on this, and then this will bolt onto the transmission tunnel, and then I can seal this with some sealant tape. God, there's mosquitoes all over this. But I can actually make a better shift boot for the car. But tonight, I'm actually gonna get into trying to finish this up, because I have to start clearing everything out. Some big news actually is that Ted and I just officially got a new garage. So we're moving in a few days, and you know, all this stuff has to get packed up. So we're starting to put things in bins. So I'm not sure how much more I'm gonna get done on the RX-7 here. I might just start packing stuff up and, you know, getting as many things squared away so we don't have to deal with it later. But it's a really nice barn that someone was using for automotive work, and they're renting it out. It's like 900 square feet. We can fit 3-4 cars in there, and it's just gonna be tons of space to work, rain, shine, through the winter, you know. So we're pumped about that, but it just means that we have a lot of work to do here before we can leave. But yeah, that'll probably be the next video. Actually, I'll probably film the move. But I'm gonna finish up that switch panel and try to get it so I have all that ready in the car, so that I can actually like drive it down there and open the windows and stuff, because that's you know, it's about 45 minutes from here. So I'm gonna get back at that. I'm gonna get back at that. And there we have it. So I have the two end connectors for the driver and passenger window. I have this loom, which is all the relay triggers. I have this one, which is like the flying lead for the power, ground, and illumination. And then they're all, you know, all connected. And then I have the board itself. So next up would be actually making a panel so that I can stick this in the car. Oh, so I just put in a ton of work without filming. I apologize. But I wired in, wow, you can't see anything. So I wired in all the relays, and I actually found out that it's probably gonna go right to these two bolts pretty good. I just gotta get this stuff out of the way. But I just got the ground hooked up now. I got the power running to the output of the key. And then I have all the outputs of the relays. If you are going to do something similar and you have the Wiring Specialties fuse box, what I did was I removed the relay for the fuel pump and the fuse completely. And what I did instead was I ran, I don't know if you can see it, but I ran that fuel pump output to the output of this relay, because it's the same 30 amp relay. So rather than go a relay to a relay, I'm just using this one. So then that way, when you can check your fuel pump without the ignition being on. So then right now I still have the fan come on with the ignition, but I'll change that. So you get the ignition and the fan. Right now, this is the fuel. And then starters are here. So to start the car, essentially you just turn that on, you do these two, and then you just push this button here. Ta-da! And then to turn the car off, it's not mounted right now, turn the car off, you can just kill these two, or if you undo the key as like an emergency, it'll disarm the power going to this whole switchboard. So this is like an overall kill switch. That way no one can just come in here and start your car. Okay, so now I got the fan thing hooked up and I got that all set. So everything works except the windows, and I also don't have a panel yet, which I want to make. So that'll be probably tomorrow or this weekend's project, is to finish up the center thing. And then that'll be pretty cool. There you go. And that came out way better than I expected. So I had that metal plate. I just self-tapped it in a couple places because all these screws are messed up, just totally messed up. So I have a couple layers of that heat sealant tape, really thick sealant under here. This seal is sealed to this metal bracket with more tape, and it's like really strong with that rubber. Like it's on there. And that fits really well. So there we go. So there'll be another boot on this plate that goes to the shifter, but this seals to the transmission tunnel, so now there's no heat coming out. So I'm calling it a night. I'll pick this up tomorrow.